Well, when it comes to the Epic Universe construction progress, things are getting pretty exciting as the construction aspect of Epic Universe is starting to wrap up as most of the lands are at least getting close to being completed. And as we've talked about before in many other videos, ride testing has been going on for months now on many, if not all, of the rides in Epic Universe. Some of the rides we can't see inside, like the battle at the Ministry, but there's a lot of aspects of Epic Universe that have been seen by people that have been testing and seeing what this stuff will look like. And there's been a lot of stuff posted at the different places online of different testing aspects of, Burning Blade and the roller coasters and how it looks at night. So I figure in this video, I'm going to do sort of a roundup here, and we're going to go through all the footage we have of the current testing footage. And then also we can take a look at some of the rides as there is some animation. We can see a lot of these rides and these roller coasters, what they will look like in even first-person view. And this will just be basically a roundup of everything we kind of know at this point in terms of what this stuff will look like. And I figured it'd be fun to go through this, react to it, and just see what it will be like, what it looks like, and kind of give a place for everybody to check all this stuff out in one spot. So that's what we're going to do today. So hi, I'm Jared with Capture the Magic, and we will start here. Looking at the Burning Blade Tavern is doing some testing on the windmill. So if you don't know about the windmill at Burning Blade Tavern, it is going to, very much like the dragon in Diagon Alley, it's going to go up in flames at different intervals, day and night, and they have some sort of fuel mixture where it will be able to be seen it and during the daytime. But at night, obviously, this is going to have a really cool effect here. So we have a video here from BioReconstruct, and we'll check out here the Burning Blade Tavern testing the burning windmill feature that they've got going on here. Like that, I mean, the fact that like that, if you've ever seen the Frankenstein movie, I mean, it's supposed to be from that movie. I mean, it looks a lot like that, and obviously this going up in flames like this, it looks like, how are they able to do this multiple times? Like that, the whole idea behind it and the fact that it looks like the concept art is pretty wild to me. But this is a really zoomed in view, obviously from the backside here. So in the park, you're gonna be able to see this. So at night, this is gonna look, I think it's gonna look amazing. During the daytime, I'm curious what that will look like, because again, they did say they've got some sort of fuel mixture where it's supposed to be able to be seen during the day as well. But I do think Dark Universe at night is going to be pretty cool, and I imagine this place will be an awesome spot to get a drink, get some snacks, hang out here, and just really check out like a lot of the ambiance of Dark Universe. I'm looking forward to. Now, I don't know in terms of how long it's supposed to burn for, how often. I don't know if they've actually said that. I haven't seen anything specifics, but the fact that it is testing and it is working is pretty cool looking. And staying in the Dark Universe, I showed this on one of the construction updates, but we do have some light testing as well over at the Frankenstein Manor that we can check out here. And this is what I've been very curious about, the lighting effects of, is it going to look like how it did like in the concept art animation? And it looks like a lot of aspects of this are going to look a lot like it. Now, the little beam there, I think he put in there, I don't believe that is from the testing here. I think that's from editing side. But, I mean, just even these early tests of this, I mean, when you're talking about being in this land and all these things going on, I'm very, very curious to see what this seems like at night, as I feel like Dark Universe is going to be what place where most people are going to want to check out at night. I mean, in the daytime, I'm sure it'll still be cool, but it definitely seems like a park or a land that is designed to be experienced at night with these spooky, vibes and all the looks of it and everything. Now, this video here, this is from Adventuring with Annie. So I think she has to live nearby or close to Epic Universe. I would wonder if it's in those apartment complexes there that are right outside of Epic Universe. Her footage is a little bit more grainy. I'm assuming this is from a phone, but we can see some of the light testing here for Helios Grand Hotel. And again, this something that it hasn't been talked about a lot, but they have talked about how, in some of the leaked things that the hotel is supposed to, it's not only just a hotel, but it's going to operate as the in-park, almost live-in castle. So sort of like how Magic Kingdom treats Cinderella's castle. I believe that's the goal and plan with Helios, is that it's going to have a lot of aspects they're going to add to the park itself. I won't be surprised to do some sort of projection lighting on it from time to time. But it's, going to have cool lighting effects. And all really of Celestial Park is going to have some interesting effects. They've said that whenever it goes from day to night, that there's a ceremony, that there's lights, that some sort of like show takes place. I imagine Helios will be part of that, but it's not going to be just a hotel just you can look at. It's going to have cool lighting effects, cool stuff like that going on. And I think it's going to add a really cool, element to this park. And another one here from Adventuring with Annie. We've got some Stardust Racers test footage at night. Now, this, I think, again, a little bit grainy here, but I think this is going to be pretty cool because, again, there is no external lighting on the track itself. They said the only lighting on this coaster is going to be the LED lights on the coaster train, because it's supposed to look like, from a guest perspective looking at it, that their comets are racing and shooting across the sky. And, I think it's going to add a thrilling aspect, because I imagine it'll be a lot more thrilling at night, because you won't be able to see too much in front of you. You're not going to have a fully lit track, but the only lighting is from those coaster trains. And I do think it's going to add a really cool effect in Celestial Park. But you can see here that they're going to have different colors, and it's just going to look like, comets shooting across the sky. Now, it's not going to look this dark, I'm sure, when the park is open, because, again, this was before. You can see here, like, little shadows. Like, there's going to be elements of the park that are lit up, so it's not going to be like you're completely in the dark. But I do think it's going to add a really cool visual effect. And that's like what I like about some of the things they're doing. Is not just for the people on the ride, but a lot of these things that in the park are for people looking at it. It serves a dual purpose, and I think that's pretty inventive and a cool aspect to this park. And I feel like there's lots of little tidbits that once the park is open, you'll be able to see different things, and that's kind of one of the things I'm excited for, is all the details and everything going into this. And here's another view of Stardust Racers at night. This is from BioReconstruct up in the helicopter here. A little bit clearer view, obviously closer, but you can see here where there is no lighting on the track itself, but the coasters. Now, this one seems like it's using less lights than the other one there to test it out there, but you can see how that will look. And I think a lot of the lighting you're seeing around this is actually construction lighting. This is not going to be that bright at night. If you look at some of the still footage, like, they're working on this area day and night. So a lot of this, it seems like it's really bright in certain areas. I do believe that's because of construction lighting, so they can see more. But, I mean, you can see here where, it goes into the dark part. Seems pretty cool. Like, I love the idea of it. And you can kind of see here in the right where it's coming up. This is Dragon Racers Rally. Like, this is supposed to be where the king sits right here, and in the grandstands here. So that's got some cool lighting aspects there, because you've got the Dragon Racers Rally ride right next to that. And then Hiccup's wing gliders will go through that area. And another ride here, again, from Adventuring with Annie, we've got Dragon Racers Rally testing here. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this one, you can see it on the left here. This is the ride it's like you're riding a dragon, and it's on a pendulum type of deal. I'm not sure if it speeds up here in a moment, but, I mean, this one, it's not. There have been similar rides to this, so one of the things with it is going to be the riders inside of it can control, like, you can stay stationary, or you can make those spin. You can make them do different things. So it can kind of be the rider can choose how intense the ride is. But you can't see it full on here, but you can again see how it works. And there are two of them there. And again, this has been ride testing for months now. And I think there's a similar ride out in, like, Iowa. Like, the ride concept this ride is not an original one necessarily for Epic Universe, but this one is themed to dragons in that way. And another one here from Adventuring with Annie, we can see that the Kronos spinning here, and you got ride testing of Stardust Racers. This is during the daytime, but the Kronos here will spin. It's going to light up at night, and the whole concept behind this is the Kronos powers the portals into these other lands. So the whole theme park itself has an overarching story, and the Kronos is sort of the central part of that story. I think they said it's like ancient technology, like the whole story behind it. They just stumbled upon it. They don't know how it works. They didn't create it. It powers its ability to let you go into these other lands or portals is kind of the whole concept behind it. Here we can see a little bit at night. And again, it will light up, and it might show here what it does during the day. So it's not spinning as much right now as the lights are going on. But I think that's it on that one. And here's a little longer look at it at dusk as the lights are testing there. And I don't think it shows it like completely at night, but we can see in this part kind of what it looks like from afar. Again, I think that she's using a phone to film this, so it's a little bit grainy. It's probably zoomed in quite a bit here, but I would almost imagine she's got to be in that apartment complex or something very close by, and then we can see Helios there with more of that light testing going on there. And here's a shot from BioReconstruct showing a little bit at night here. Obviously, behind there, you've got the Frankenstein Manor, and then you've got the Kronos. So not only will the spinning Kronos light up, you've got the little medallions for each land that will light up in different aspects like that. So it's going to have a cool aspect tonight. Again, I love theme parks at night, so I feel like Epic Universe is going to be one of those parks where at night it's going to have a completely different feel to it versus the daytime, which I'm really looking forward to. And this is another shot by BioReconstruct of Helios at night. Now the domes there are like a copper color, but the lighting of this is I think again going to be a very unique aspect to this. But we can see here that a lot of the nighttime testing has been going on for a couple of weeks now, and kind of getting a glimpse of what we can expect at night. And that's another cool shot. I mean, that's a great view. And again, up here, this is where the bar will be. So you'll be able to, if you're up there, you'll be able to see really cool views of the park and the fireworks. And just, I imagine, I'm very curious how the bar is going to work. Do you have to stay at the hotel to go up there? Because I imagine if you don't have to be a hotel guest, it's going to be very difficult to get up there into that bar. But I would like to check that out because it does, again, just being up there with the views and everything like that. Feels like it will be a very cool experience. And not just the rides we have. This is Stella Nova. Obviously, these hotels are opening before the park opens. But we have here the sign that you'll be able to see from the road. And, I mean, it's a very cool sign. I imagine both of the hotels will have very similar ones. These are very much sister hotels, sort of like what they do with Dockside and Surfside over not far from these. But I think in terms of, again, at night, the lighting of this and the way that those hotels are looking with the shimmering tiles that they have on them, they are just like value plus hotels. So I don't, it's not going to be anything extravagant with the hotels, but they have, it has a very unique theming to it. And I think these signs, I think they look cool. Like I think that's an awesome looking sign with all the effects going on like that. And again, I imagine Terra Luna is going to have a very similar sign, if not almost an identical sign to that one. Now, one thing about How to Train Your Dragon Land is there are going to be, it seems, flying dragons. I'm assuming using drone technology to do that. And these have been spotted in the sky before, but this is the closest view I've seen of this. And again, this is from Adventuring with Annie. That we can see here one of the dragons that is being tested for this. And I'm very curious as to like how often this will happen. Where does it go? Is it over people sort of thing? Like, because again, talked about the other day, there was a drone incident in Orlando where the little boy was hurt. So usually, typically for safety of guests, you don't have drones flying overhead other, people in the parks. But I feel like this is one of those things where this is something I wanted in Galaxy's Edge, which they had talked about doing, which was using drones to have like, ships and TIE fighters and different things being overhead in Galaxy's Edge to make it really feel like you were in a spaceport. I feel like being in How to Train Your Dragon Land, Isle of Berk, if you've got dragons flying around, I mean, it's just going to add a level of immersion. And again, it's like the effort. Like, they don't have to do this. And hopefully this is one of those things, like if they do have one or multiple dragons flying around, like this is an aspect that, they keep doing as sometimes these things fall off. But in terms of the level of immersion, the things that they're trying to do here, I completely applaud it because I feel like they're just going over and beyond. I mean, I don't know of anybody that was saying like, we have to have flying dragons. I feel like most people just thought like, well, that's not something that you'll probably see. But the fact that they've been testing this for months. Now, I don't know how many. We do know there is basically a launch pad kind of next to the theater where that's presumably where they will go. And it looks like a pretty big pad there. So I'm imagining you'll have multiple of these. Perhaps this will be like a once a day show where they talk about the dragons flying around. So I don't know the specifics of it, but the fact they have been testing these, I'm sure they're going to do it. And I'm very curious to check this out and see what it looks like when the park is open and how they implement it like in the overall story. And here we've got a video from EYNTK, Travel, Food, Lifestyle, and After Hours. And we get a little bit of ride testing in general. Here's Minecart Madness. We've seen this before, but this is a really good view here. And again, the interesting aspect about this is you've got the side track. So the top track is not the actual track that the roller coaster is riding on. There is an arm with a side track that is holding it. So it's going to, simulate like you're jumping over gaps in the track, like you've played the Donkey Kong games. Here's a little bit of the splashdown area. And you kind of see that side arm there. So this is a ride I'm really looking forward to. I know some people had questions about it. Doesn't seem very thrilling and things like that. But again, they've said from the get-go, it's a family-based, it's a family coaster. It's Nintendo. I was never expecting anything to be, insanely thrilling in that way. But I do think when you're on this ride, I mean, there was that POV, we reacted to it a couple weeks ago, of somebody snuck a camera on the one from Japan. And some people seem pretty disappointed in it. But I would say it's hard. I think a lot of the elements of this ride, you're not going to be able to experience from just a video view of it. I think a lot of it is going to be, feeling like you're jumping over gaps in that track. And then seemingly, you probably feel like you're going faster than just looking at it here. But I think this will be a really cool ride. I don't think it's going to be like Stardust Racers level of, intensity. But I do think for a family roller coaster, much like Slinky Dog Dash over in Hollywood Studios with Disney World, I think it'll be along those lines with in my opinion, a unique twist to how this ride is. And here we have some footage of the Curse of the Werewolf roller coaster. Now, this is the spinning coaster. And this one's been ride testing for months now, but you can see here, again, not an insanely, thrilling coaster necessarily. It doesn't go upside down, but the spinning aspect, I think, will add something to it. But it has a very simple track you can see here, but you're going to be spinning around on it. I imagine if you have motion sickness issues like my wife, this may be one you may not do for that reason. But, relatively simple coaster track, but with a unique element to it. And over in Isle of Berk here from Amusement Insider, we can get a really good view of Hiccup's wing gliders here during some ride testing. So this is the clearest view I've seen. You can see multiple, they've got test dummies in there as they're going through testing here. So I think very likely, if they haven't already, there's probably going to be, actual people on this testing it out. But this is very good footage of this. I'm guessing they had a drone with this, would be my guess. Now, I don't know if this is at full speed. And you can see it pulling in here. It looks like you've got Hiccup in here right there. So, again, it's going to be very much like Hagrid's, where you're going into different show stations, kind of slows down to see those and then, speeds off again. This looks very early on because a lot of the progress here is a lot further along than what it's showing in the background around a lot of this stuff. So, but it's still a very good view of the ride testing here. And this is where it comes out of the grandstands. Again, the grandstands are basically done at this point. So this footage was from a while ago. But it just shows you they've been doing ride testing on all of these rides for a very long time now. And an updated testing, this is from Attractions Magazine. This is obviously further along than that last one. This looks like it's at full speed here of ride testing of Hiccup's wing glider. I think this was about a month ago. So, again, this is probably, and they got multiple trains running here. So, I mean, the ride here is done. They're just in the multiple testing phases, which I hope will lend to it being much, all these rides being very reliable as they've run through ride testing for a while now. But you can see, I don't know if they'll do it. Yeah, you get the splash effects there. When it goes there, it's going to feel like it goes underwater kind of. And it just goes out, through the entire lane. So that's much faster, at this point in the ride testing. And it seems like right here, more than likely, it stops, as it seems like every one of them does. So, again, this is maybe sort of like Slinky Dog Dash, where it has that pause and then goes again into the next launch. So I'm not sure if that's exactly how this ride will go, but it seems like in the ride testing that it always pauses in this area. But, again, it could just be some testing things that they're doing there. And then this is going from that into the second launch. It seems like a pretty long coaster, too. And then this is where you go through the grandstands. And one thing we can do, this is from Amusement Insider, is they have animation of what all these rides, I'm guessing they just had the plans or whatever, but all these rides will look like. So I figured let's go through this and see some of this because I think this would be pretty cool. So the first one here, we have Curse of the Werewolf. And this is from a POV position at night. I don't know if they actually run this during the rain, but it does give it a spooky feel to it. So you can see even here, you got Frankenstein Manor in the background right there. Now, I don't know if it's going to spend this much right off the bat there, but, it is going to be a spinning aspect. And, again, if you have motion sickness, probably would take precautions with this one here. But, again, very simple coaster. And this is actually from, what you may feel like when you're actually on it. But I feel like it'll be, again, it's a family coaster, but I think it adds a really kind of thrilling element to it that still most families will be able to enjoy on some level. And here we have Hiccup's wing gliders from a POV position. So I've often called this one basically like baby Hagrid's kind of, which I think, obviously, I love Hagrid's. Hagrid's is one of the best coasters, out there. And I think, obviously it's very popular. So I think doing a version of Hagrid's in this way is a good idea here. So you're going to go to different show buildings and things. So it doesn't have any inversions, but I imagine be pretty thrilling here. Obviously, this is a first person, perspective. Like, very well done animation. Skimming over the water. Like, I imagine that's going to be pretty cool seeing that. And I'm not a huge roller coaster person. So, if it goes upside down and things like that, that's really not my thing when it comes to coasters. So I like these story coasters where they kind of like walk you through a story, kind of like what Hagrid's does. And I think that's the part we did. Yeah. So it seems like this may be part of the ride where you do that go up, you come back. So I don't think that maybe was just a ride testing thing. That may have been actually what is going to happen in this ride. Perhaps plays into the story a little bit. And I feel like it's going to be, it's going to be a pretty long ride. I would imagine it's like a couple minutes long perhaps, because again, it goes through all over Isle of Berk. And then we've got Minecart Madness, which again, a lot of, we've known about Minecart Madness. There's been POV leaked footage of it. So I don't think there's anything that's like unexpected here, but it does show you a little bit here. And then if you look at the POV footage of it. So again, yeah, here's from looking outside in. Then the POV footage of it. This is like when you come out, go up that launch hill, and it's supposed to launch you out of the barrel. Seem like you're jumping over gaps. So I do feel like this is going to seem much more thrilling in person versus what you're seeing like on videos and things, just for this reason here, where it seems like your eyes are telling you there's a gap in the track. So it's going to be, it's a different experience than what, perhaps you're used to on a roller coaster. Now, hopefully, if you've seen the POV footage, hopefully the one in Epic Universe, the one in Japan, this area here is not themed. Like, it just looks like you are in a backstage area. I'm hoping that it also could be that the camera is like, it picks up things that you're not able to see with your eyes, and maybe it's supposed to be darker in there. But I do hope the one in Epic Universe, this area is either better themed or more in the dark, so you can't see that. Because that's one thing I will say, that part of it seems not the best. And again, given Nintendo and Universal, they typically go above and beyond with those things, especially Nintendo. They're very controlling. So I'm hoping maybe the one in Japan, they were just trying to get it open as that ride was delayed. But I'm hoping the one in Epic Universe won't have, that lack of theming in this area. Again, I think this looks like a cool ride. I think it's going to be very popular. I think it's going to be long waits for this. I do think that the ride capacity is a question. You can only have 4 riders in a vehicle here. How many trains are they able to run? How quickly can they, get people on and off of it? I think that'll be perhaps a question about that ride. And then here we got Stardust Racers. I mean, it goes without saying this is going to be, I would say, the most thrilling ride in Epic Universe, as they cross over each other multiple times. I think it said it goes up to like 60 miles an hour. I don't remember the exact specifics, but here's the POV footage of it. I do like the fog effects here. I think that's a pretty cool thing. And again, this is kind of a throwback to, they used to have the Dueling Dragons coaster, but before where Hagrid's is now. That's what that used to be. So this is kind of also a throwback to that in some way, I think. And then at the back, in the back of these coasters, I believe is a flux capacitor. That's kind of an Easter egg in here. So I'm not really sure what that's supposed to be story-wise, or maybe just a call out to Back to the Future more than anything. But it does have a little bit of Easter eggs in here, and kind of, again, telling a story of like Celestial Park. It's supposed to be like the Celestials are racing a comet across the sky and stuff. But if you are a coaster person, I do imagine this is going to be a very thrilling, high in demand ride in Epic Universe. I think here is where, you got your little twist inversion. And I think the crossing is an aspect that adds an extra element to it. Plus, it doubles the ride capacity. So instead of having one train only, you've got 2 going at a time. So more than likely, this one will be able to handle, moving more people through it at a time, which is good for wait times and things like that. And then just in general, we've got, BioReconstruct doing a nighttime flight here, so we can get a good view of sort of the entire park right now. This was, I think, a week or so, maybe 2 weeks ago, of what this will sort of look like. This is more like at dusk, so it's not completely dark here, but here we got Hiccup's wing gliders doing some ride testing. And again, you can see the lighting effects right there. Again, a lot of this part just looks really, the lighting effects look really cool at night. And this is the rest of Isle of Berk. And this is what, you can see here, the entrance portal to Dark Universe. You got the Frankenstein Manor back here, like the purple lights and things. I think that looks really cool. And a lot of this, we'll have to see when it's open, but a lot of this looks pretty dark. And you got a lot of trees in this area, so I feel like it's going to be very spooky at night. But I think that entrance portal looks really, really cool with that lighting effect at night. And that's Curse of the Werewolf right there. Now, what would be interesting, they may not have much lighting on Curse of the Werewolf at night, so that could kind of be an interesting added little thrill to it, doing that ride at night. And then here's Frankenstein Manor. Now, I believe he did say it was windy during this flight, so this is probably why it looks like it's hard to stabilize there. And you got Super Nintendo World. I'm looking forward to Super Nintendo World day or night, but I think at night it could have a kind of a cool feel to it. Now, I'm curious down here underneath Peach's Castle what this is going to be used for. Because I know over here in this gazebo, this is where I believe, if not all, at least Princess Peach's meet and greet is. But I've been very curious as to what they're going to do underneath here. This may just be an area for games. I'm not really sure. But, I mean, if you know in the comments, let me know. But I've been curious since construction began on this, because they don't have this area. I don't think they have this area in Hollywood or Japan. I thought one of the lands didn't have this area. But, I'm curious what they're going to do there. But given the lighting there, I could see maybe a meet and greet. But they may have said what it is used for. People may know. But if you do know, let me know in the comments. And you got Donkey Kong Country here. And obviously Helios. And, they haven't said much about the fountain in terms of, I'm sure it's kind of lighting, it's going to do shows. But the Helios is going to be just a cool aspect. And then you've got Stellanova and Terra Luna here at night. And that's the entrance portal. So you can see here in the entrance portal, I mean, you've got a lot of the Kronos lights up, a lot of this blue, purplish lighting, which I do think is a really cool effect at night. I think it adds a kind of a cool, I do think it's a good color to use at night to set that sort of vibe I think they're going for. And this is the entrance security plaza right here. You get Constellation Carousel right there at night. I think is going to be a great experience. And we have Wizarding World. So again, you got the purple lighting there. You got more Stardust Racers. So again, it's all looking really good. I love seeing this stuff at night. And I figured we'll just make a video sort of compiling all the test footage and the recent things, at least as of right now, what it all looks like, in the little previews here, and just a one video that I can kind of point to. Because some people ask for, what this is, what that is. So I figured just make this video as a place to point people to if you want to look at it and kind of compile it all. So I'll put links of the clips I used in here in the description if you want to check that out on your own. But, it's cool to see this, especially since it was dirt to now. And then basically, construction is wrapping up. I would imagine most of the construction is going to wrap up early 2025, as I am very curious as to when, AP preview soft opening starts, as I do imagine, the park's opening in May 22nd. So I do imagine the rumors have been that there's going to be multiple months of AP previews or soft openings, however they're phrasing that, because you're going to want to have, obviously, they've been doing ride testing for months now, which I think is a great thing because it runs all these rides through multiple times. And you don't have, potential issues you hopefully will get ironed out. But then also you're going to want to have as many people as you can go through this park. You can figure out potential issues or bottlenecks and things of ride testing as well. So by the time the park opens, it's not really a guess. And I think, there is a lot riding, obviously, with Universal on this, a lot of pressure. Now, I do think it's going to be a successful park. Universal knows how to run theme parks. So I think if it was a newer theme park company, probably a lot more questions about the reliability of these rides. But given they're doing all this ride testing, you get a lot of people going through here. Hopefully, they're wanting it to operate on day one well. You cut down on the risk of ride, breakdowns, which can happen any day in a theme park. So that's always a risk of any theme park you go into on any given day. A ride or multiple rides can break down, but you basically try and do it to where you set them up to where the best success you can, because you don't want a brand new theme park to open and opening day you have a bunch of rides down, nobody has a good time, the word of mouth is not good. So I think if they're able to execute on the opening time frame well, people come away saying really positive things. It could get a lot of people who are kind of like, well, I'm going to wait until this dies down and things like that. I think it could get a lot more people to visit quicker than they maybe otherwise anticipated doing. Because I think there are a lot of people that are just being like, I'm going to wait for the crowds, wait until they get the kinks ironed out. And if they're able to prove that it's right off the bat, the park operates well, the rides are reliable, I think it's going to only help them in terms of continuing to draw people in that are, people are already excited for this, but obviously you got, more people that are looking to go here that maybe aren't normally theme park people. They're running commercials on like NFL football games, because I do think Universal is trying to reach a demographic of people that aren't necessarily just theme park people. So they're not just trying to get people that normally go to Disney to come over to Universal. I think they're trying to break into a new crowd of people that maybe aren't typical theme park goers, but that these IPs in the park and the cool aspects and the technology behind this, it appeals to, and breaking into a new crowd there. So and that may be one of the aspects there. You know, theme park people for the most part understand rides go down, things happen, but people that aren't used to that, you know, you could have really negative reactions to that. So obviously you want a theme park to be reliable and these rides to be reliable. So I like seeing all the ride testing. I like the lighting effects at night. And, you know, as construction gets closer to being completed, I'm sure we'll get even more, you know, footage of things running at night, ride testing and things. Now, there was a clip, I think it's been out there for a while, floating around on Twitter X for a while, of somebody on the working or the worker at Battle the Ministry leaked a little bit of a clip inside of it. I'm not going to show it on here because I imagine Universal would be like, hey, take that down. So I'm not going to risk that, but you can find it out there. But it's a slight little clip that does show the track. It shows a little bit of the wall being done, and it just looks huge. It's a giant wall in there. So I think the thing that I'm the most curious about is Battle to Ministry in terms of like, what is that ride going to be like how, you know, the complexity of it. Like, I have a lot of questions. So if you're going to go look for that, it's out there. But again, I'm not going to put it on this video. But I think the scale of that ride is something that we maybe haven't seen before. There's rumors of it being multiple manufacturers being part of that ride and being the most ambitious theme park attraction ever. We'll have to wait and see how that one ends up being. But I have a lot of questions and excitement for that one. But I just want to make a video, compile all this in here, and kind of just have a one-stop shop here because I like watching this stuff on my own anyway. So I just figured, well, I'll just make a compilation video here, share, you know, that way it gives everybody a central spot to check all this stuff out. But either way, that's going to be it though for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what's the thing at Epic Universe you are the most excited for? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.